let's go over how to factor 9x squared minus 69x plus 90 using the AC method. So the first thing you want to do, no matter what method you're going to try, is to see if you can factor something out first. And in here, you can see that there's multiples of 3 for both the A value, the B value, and the C value. So let's take out a 3. We'll do 3 times 3x squared minus 23x plus 30. And this isn't actually required at this stage, but it just makes it a little bit easier because you have smaller numbers to deal with inside that quadratic, and so it's just a good idea. But something really important is not to forget to put that 3 back in at the end. So to do the AC method, put AC method, we are relying on that idea that a quadratic is ax squared plus bx plus c. And so for the AC method, we need two numbers that multiply to the A value times the C value. And here we have 3 and 30, which equals, of course, 90. So we need two numbers that multiply to 90. Write this out. And then we need those two numbers to add to our B value, and the B value is negative 23. Must add to negative 23. So we start looking at combinations of numbers that have a product of 90. You can do this any way that you'd like. I like to start from 1 and 90, and then 2 and 45. I just keep writing out the ones that have an even division. 3 and 30. 4 doesn't go in evenly. 5 and 18. And of course, all the negative versions also work because if it has to have a product of 90, it can just be negative 1, negative 90, negative 2, negative 45, negative 3, negative 30, negative 5, negative 18. So now we need to find the versions that have the pairs that add to negative 23. And we can see right away that none of these here are going to add to negative 23. And same thing here, it's just not getting us anywhere near that. 3 and 30 obviously doesn't work, that's 33. We have negative 33, that's not working. 5 and 18 is 23, so negative 5 minus 18 is negative 23. So we'll scratch this one out. And we know that these are going to become our middle factors. So what we do next is we take our original equation. So we knew we used to have 3x squared minus 23x plus 30. We are going to take it as 3x squared. And instead of putting negative 23x, we're going to write these two terms that we just figured out. So we'll put minus 18x minus 5x plus 30. So that's a completely equivalent to what we had the first time. It's just that we've transformed that negative 23x into a minus 18 minus 5x, and you'll see why in just one moment here. So now that we have this, we're going to split this into two pairs. So we'll have 3x squared minus 18x, and then we'll have 5x minus 30. And of course that plus turns into a minus because we're going to distribute that negative sign in the middle. So now what needs to happen is that we somehow need to end up with the same term on both sides. And right now we don't have that. But if we look on the left-hand side, there's something that we can pull out because there's a common factor, and that factor is 3x. So we take out a 3x, and we are left with x minus 6. And then we notice over here, same thing. We can take something out. And what we need to do is take something out so that we also have an x minus 6. And that number is 5. So we can take out the 5 and we end up with x minus 6. And the magic in this is that once you have an x minus 6 on both sides, this just rearranges. So you can take the leading term on both, the 3x and the 5, and that becomes the first new grouping, and then the x minus 6. And if you need to, you can use the FOIL method here to make sure that it's actually coming out to our original quadratic of 3x squared minus 23x plus 30. So just looking at it here, 3x times x is 3x squared, minus 5x minus 18x. So we have that minus 5 and minus 18, and then negative 5 times negative 6 is 30. So we are indeed ending up in the right place. And now here's where it's really important not to forget what we did up top, which was that we took out a 3. So we put that back in, and we now have 3 times 3x minus 5 times x minus 6, and that's our answer. So you have to remember this little stage here. It can be a little bit weird at first because you have to do some other factoring and remember what order to put things in. But once you get this, it's simpler than trial and error because you're not having to go through multiple tries to try and figure out, does this one work? No, does this other one work? What about this other combination? This method will give you the answer that works right away.